Okay, all in favor, say yay.
Yay.
Okay, all opposed, say no. Okay, those are approved and become a part of the record. Okay, now today we're going to be addressing these flags, signs, and I guess we'll let Danny go ahead and kind of educate us on where this is all coming from.
If you guys remember, a few years back, we had the sign ordinance came about, and after a few, you guys had a variance or two, I think, and after a couple of variance requests, particularly regarding these, what I call feather signs or flutter signs, you guys see an example of it on my memo, and you see a lot of those up and down 23rd Street where they may say open with the long, narrow signs attached to a single pole. Our ordinance currently says that defines those as flutter signs, and it says that signs with revolving beacons, fluttering, undulating, swinging, or otherwise moving parts. At this point in time, we amended that ordinance to allow some of these. It used to be just prohibited, but at this point in time, they are allowed for a 14-day period for special events and whatnot. A lot of that came about first discussions. I think you guys had a variance request with the Texas Panhandle Builders Association regarding the Parade of Homes. So the P&Z and the City Commission agreed that a 14-day period would be ample time per calendar year to allow them to have up these type of flutter signs or feather type signs to allow special events such as open houses, grand openings, etc., things like that. So there's this 14-day limit. Well, when and typically our inspectors will go out and let these people know if a sign comes up, they'll make sure they're aware, hey, you can only have this up for 14 days, and they'll count along with them and work with them on it to make sure they know when their time limit is up. And most of the businesses have become pretty well familiar with that process and what our limitations are. However, I had a request from one business owner fairly early on during this COVID crisis when things were shut down, but were allowed to start opening up. He asked if there's anything we could do to help them out with that during the start period, to let people know that they're open. I thought that's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that. I think it's fantastic. We had this 14-day allowance anyway, but we were willing to let them extend those out, thinking at that point in time everything was centered around kind of 2 weeks to a month. Well, this is extended out way beyond that. We don't know, and the governor's opening things up slowly and understandably so. So I felt like it was probably appropriate to rather than continue to just not enforce it, we needed to have a more official action take place and get you guys involved in it and see if you were willing to grant a variance to allow those flutter signs to be set up beyond the 14-day period to help these businesses make the public aware that they are open, and anything they can do to help spur business on. Now, I think it would be, my recommendation would be to set a date to where that, if that variance, if you guys were willing to grant that variance, to set a time limit on that variance. For example, your next meeting would be the scheduled meeting would be the end of next month. Allow those flutter signs or feather signs to remain up until the end of June, at which times you guys could reconvene and look at it based on what the governor's ordered at that time. We don't know what they're going to be, what kind of things are going to change. I think based on his GA 23, it looks like maybe there may be some more announcements coming out June the 3rd, but I don't know what those are going to be. At this point in time, most of the occupancies that are allowed to open up, the non-essential retail establishments, restaurants, things of that nature, gymnasiums, are allowed to open up at 25%. Now, most of the state is going to allow to go up to 50% on the 22nd, which has already happened. However, however, you guys probably aware Deaf Smith County, Randall County, Potter County, Moore County are kind of considered some of the hot spots at this point in time. And so the governor has held off on allowing those to open up to 50% until the 29th, 7 days. So restaurants, those non-essential retail establishments, gymnasiums can open up to 50% occupant load on the 29th. Some other establishments that have been closed will be able to start opening up starting on the 29th. Those massage therapy, tattoo therapy, several other establishments are going to be able to allow to start opening up. So I think at some point in time, hopefully by the end of June, maybe we're at 100%. None of us really knows, but that would be something to consider. I think if you guys are willing to grant a variance to allow these things to stay out till the end of June, again, at which time you could reconvene and reconsider based on what the governor's orders at that time. I do think it's important to do what we can to help these businesses out. Now, the reason, going back to the reason why the P&Z and the city commission chose to restrict these type of signs, these flutter signs and feather type signs. You see a lot of them predominantly in Amarillo. There's a lot of those signs up on a lot of streets. And I think if you guys look at those, you'll see that a lot of them stay out way beyond the lifetime of the sign. They get faded, they get damaged. So I think that the P&Z and the city commission felt like those were something that we wanted to restrict. Again, at one point in time, just prohibit them all flat out, but now they've allowed them to be out for 14 days. And that's kept them out, a moderate number of them. You seldom see them out on 23rd Street. And when you do see them out there, they're in good condition based off of these rules. So I certainly wouldn't want to go too far out, but I think a month would be my recommendation. And then we could reconsider at the end of that time period based on what the governor's orders are. I'd be glad to answer your questions if anybody has any.
But Danny, I don't see any reason not to grant it till the end of June. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion that we'd reconsider it at our next meeting, but go ahead and grant the extension through the end of June, and that we'd reconsider or bring it back up in our June meeting.
Okay, let's open a public hearing. Joan, be my recommendation, and then we can give anybody out there an opportunity to speak if Sean has anybody in the wings.
Okay. Do we have anybody that would like to address this? That's in the audience?
Nobody?
Nobody.
Okay.
Well, I think we have a motion before us by Wiley that we extend this to the end of June, and then we reassess it and readdress it at our meeting at the end of June. Do I hear any discussion about that, or do I hear a second?
I'm going to second that. I think if we're still under lockdown orders or stay-at-home orders, or businesses are still partially closed, we can readdress it and extend it at the June meeting if we need to.
Okay.
Otherwise, it could expire on June 30th.
Okay. All in favor of this motion that's been presented? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I think that's unanimous. So we'll go ahead and extend this ordinance to the end of June and readdress it at our next meeting. Is there
Very
any
good.
formal business we need to address?
That's all I have.
Okay, thank y'all for coming, logging on and doing this, and hopefully might be meeting in person next time.
The next time we meet in person, the new city manager will have to bring us donuts.
That's right.
That should be a rule. That should be a
Okay.
rule.
So do we need to vote on that? Okay, thank you, and y'all have a nice evening.
All right. Thanks,
Talk to you
Joe.
later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.